Hey there, this is Jen, and who do I have with me?
Hi, my name is Sean. I am an organizer with Sunrise DC and part of the Shutdown DC Coalition.
You guys have done so much around DC, so much across the country. We've definitely reported at some of your events. I want to ask you specifically about tonight, how you're feeling as a person, surrounded by all of these people who are mourning our RBG, but also are kind of excited now to take action. So what are your thoughts?
I think that it's a wild mix of emotions. I feel at the same time like deeply angry that we are in a situation where our republic, where the what little democracy we have in this country is threatened by the death of one very fragile human being. But I am also energized seeing all the people who came here to mourn today, like the many thousands of people throughout the night, has really made me see how many people want to be able to fight, want to be able to change something.
So obviously the fight is against what a lot of people see as a kind of a fascist ruler in Donald Trump. And we have Mitch McConnell, who has already said, Mitch and Trump have both said they want to push through a conservative justice before the election, which we have, 40 odd some days left until the election. So we don't know who's going to win. Biden is ahead in polling right now, so people are hopeful. But what kind of sense do you have, like being an organizer yourself, of what actions people are going to take to make sure that either, that Biden wins, first of all, but also that we actually get a liberal justice who will do justice for America?
Well, our own coalition is actually planning on going to Lindsey Graham's house on Monday to wake him up, not like in a metaphorical sense, but literally wake him up at his house, 414 South Capitol Street, northeast, about 4 or 5 blocks away from here, to tell him, remind him of his words, make him eat his words, specifically, please use my words against me, Lindsey Graham.
And remind people of what those words were, for those who haven't seen the clip.
He's
like a paraphrase is great.
While he was arguing for Justice Kavanaugh's appointment 9 months before an election, he said, I believe this deeply, this is a principle, and specifically he said, if you want in 4 years, use my words against me. And we plan to do just that. The fundamental thing here is that these politicians, they are not like incorporeal entities. They're not like ghosts. They have houses. They go home after they do their evil deeds and they relax with an expensive scotch as people suffer. And what these sorts of actions aim to do is make it clear that you don't get to be comfortable in your home when you have made people's lives suffer.
And that's what a lot of people are trying to prevent, is that suffering. So with going to Lindsey Graham's house, he's known as a flip-flopper. He was, of course, very anti-Trump before Trump was actually in office. Now it seems like he just does Trump's bidding, whatever Trump wants. Do you think there's a chance that Lindsey could actually not be a hypocrite and turn around? Do you hope that this action, even if Lindsey doesn't flip, which he probably won't, maybe it will inspire others? What are your hopes to come out of this?
So Lindsey Graham is a particularly striking example of this hypocrisy, but all politicians follow this exact same logic. And we don't plan to end with visiting him. What this aims to do is to point out in a broad sense, make all of these politicians remember they know where I live because I work for them. Like all of them to remember, like, my harm, my evils do not come without consequences. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that message would definitely be heard by progressives and liberals for sure, and it will be interesting to see what comes of it. So if the viewers want to take part in this, how can they find more details about this? What can they do?
So the link that we are using to onboard people into this is bit.ly/
Hi, Sean.
hello, bit.ly.
Oh, nice. All right, make sure you get up close to it.
Hi there.
Okay, so bit.ly/awake921, or it looks like they can text democracy to
88202. You can text democracy to 88202 to receive updates from Shutdown DC.
Do you want to say a few words too?
Can I ask who I'm speaking to?
Yeah, so we're Status Coup. We're an independent progressive outlet. We've covered several Sunrise Movement actions before, so this sounds like something our viewers are very interested in. What are your hopes to come out of this action and all the actions that Sunrise Movement and so many groups are taking?
So I can actually speak more for Shutdown DC, a local direct action group, than I can for Sunrise Movement, but I'm sure we're aligned in our goals. We're going to be a pain in Lindsey Graham's ass. I don't know if I can say that on where you're doing it. We're going to get him to wake up and feel the reality of this. We are taking the fight to the doorstep of his house because this is personal for us and we need to make it personal for him. My goals in particular, I care a lot about reproductive justice and the fight for that, so I think that that's the eventual way this spirals out to. But we are asking Lindsey Graham on Monday morning to honor her wish and not appoint another Trump justice.
What is the sense that you have among organizers, maybe friends and family? Of course, it was really devastating to hear that RBG had died yesterday. Do you think that people will kind of wallow in that sense of despair, or are you feeling more like people are now, okay, we're sad, but we're gonna fight?
If I'm watching my calendar correctly, we have 45 days until the election, and after that, there's still going to be absolutely just hundreds of fights to keep working hard on. So I think that many people are sad. I also think that there are some people who would prefer to not necessarily uphold her because of some of her decisions on indigenous land sovereignty, various things like that. I personally will not be focusing so much on her, though an absolutely trailblazing justice and someone that I think a lot of people really look up to. I also think it's important to look more to the future than to the past and to, like we're doing, get out of the streets and get ready. Among my friends and family, I think definitely people are very sad, especially because I'm from Ohio, a state with trigger laws that will go into action the second that Roe is threatened. But I think in the activist community, the general consensus for those that I can speak for is that we're getting ready to go because that's all we can really do at this point.
You know, one thing that people say about those who live in D.C. is they say, oh, D.C. people are all in a bubble, but you just mentioned you're from Ohio. So you're bringing with you like the experience of knowing what, the Midwest is going through. And so maybe speak to that a little bit, like your experience with coming from Ohio, being in D.C., what do all Americans, whether they live on the coast or not, what do all Americans need to think about and know about what it means for our Supreme Court, what it means for getting Biden in office?
I think that it means something different for every community. And so what I want Americans to do is to look at their own community and the communities around them, to look at the similarities that they have with their neighbors and to the differences, and to consider what threatens them, what threatens their neighbors, what threatens the things that matter to them. Coming from the Midwest and just being a woman, being a feminist, being a person who's able to get pregnant and a person who could not have a baby right now, reproductive rights and reproductive justice do matter a lot to me. I think that the things that the Supreme Court will have to face in the coming years are important on so many levels, and that each community is going to really need to decide for themselves what aspect of that will be their motivation.
That makes a lot of sense. So I mistakenly thought you were also a Sunrise Movement. So Shut Down DC is your group, right? Or the group that you're with. So explain to people what that is. I know I've definitely been to your stuff too. So explain to people who aren't familiar with Shut Down DC what it is, how they can catch up with you. Obviously you have it on the sign there.
Well, thank you for joining us at previous actions and events. Shut Down DC is a direct action group that came together to respond to the Youth Climate Strikes call in the summer of 2019. Since then, we've organized around issues, everything from defending democracy by protecting the mail-in vote. With Louis DeJoy, we've partnered with our friends at Long Live Go-Go DC. We've organized around Juneteenth with our friends at Black Lives Matter DC, BYP 100, and Stop Police Terror. What we really are is a group of locals and the people that the locals are kind enough to let grow and build with them, focusing on direct action to defend our democracy and protect the communities we care about.
Great. And if you're comfortable with it, give your name and any last thoughts.
My name is Hope Nyer. Nyer is N as in November, EYER, and we'd love for you to join us on Monday morning. You can text democracy to 88202 to get updates from Shutdown DC and register at bit.ly/awake921 to sign up with Sunrise to show up on Monday morning.
Great. And it's 6 a.m. Oh, so bright and early, everyone.
We're going to wake him up. Yes.
Nice. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Take care.